Well, hi everyone. This is Peter Frank from Concordia Technology Solutions. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to be talking about Facebook and the changes that they're making. Oops. I've got some duplication of my sound. Sorry about that. Today we've got a special guest. I am joined by Seth Hinz, Web Media Director for the Michigan District of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. He's also in as a spare time administrator of the Lutheran Communicators Facebook group and also a contributor for the CTS blog. So welcome, Seth. How are you doing today?
Doing well. How are you, Peter?
Doing well. Thanks for joining me. We're going to dive right into the topic today. There are some major changes going on with Facebook. So why don't you start off by talking about what those changes are and why some social media industry experts are calling it the Facebook apocalypse or Facebook zero. Is it, big change? Is it really that scary? So start us off there.
Sure. Yeah. Wow. Well, first, thank you for giving me an opportunity to talk about this, and then the opportunity to speak about it gave me an opportunity to spend time researching it. There is a lot going on in the world on people talking about this. Some people are hair on fire. Some people are saying it's not going to really change my strategy at all. Some people are just taking the wait and see. So I guess that's what we want to talk about today. What happened? What is going to happen? And then what can we do proactively to kind of address the issues that are coming down the board. So Facebook apocalypse, or Facebook zero, as Michael Stelzner of Social Media Examiner calls it, is happening. So on January 11th, and I'm going to kind of read parts of Mark Zuckerberg's statement so we can kind of understand it. He reiterated that Facebook's mission is to bring people closer together. And so he said, one of our big focus areas for 2018 is to making sure the time we spend on Facebook is time well spent. We built Facebook to help people stay connected and bring us closer together with the people that matter to us most. That's why we've always put friends and family at the core of the experience. Research shows that strengthening our relationships improves our well-being, so you're going to hear that a few times, and happiness. But recently we've gotten feedback from our community that public content, posts from businesses, brands, and media, kind of where churches fall in, is crowding out the personal moments that lead us to connect with each other. So I guess my question to everybody out there watching is, like, have you felt this? I know I've felt it. I feel like when I go on Facebook, it's just a passive scroll. There's less and less for me to engage with and actually have a meaningful dialogue. Some of that's on me. I don't always have the energy to go and have a 3-sentence response to everybody's thing. But that is kind of where Facebook's saying, we want those interactions to happen more so that it's more beneficial to not only yourself, but to your friends. And so I'm a little exhausted with the way things have been going. I know other people are too. So there's so much to consume. Yeah. Any thoughts on that, Peter?
Yeah, so when you talk about you don't have time to comment, are you engaging with posts? Like, are you liking, loving, or adding reactions to that?
Right. That's a good question. For me, I've probably fallen into kind of the what they would call the addiction mode of it. There's always something else to scroll to. There's something more interesting on the next thing. I've tried to put practices in place personally where I'll actually stop and I'll say, okay, this person spent time to craft this thing. I'll stop and comment on it. But I think the drive right now is just keep going, because there's always another video. There's always something else. And I think Facebook's noticing that as we have a more passive experience with Facebook, we actually, it's bad for our well-being. It actually kind of depresses us more because we see typically everybody's highlights. And so, oh, who just went on vacation? Who is got this beautiful family picture out there? Who, blah, 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 blah. And so if we're not engaging actively, they're seeing that it's actually having a negative effect on people. And so they're trying to address that with this change.
That's really interesting. I know that goes into what Zuckerberg was saying, and I'll let you keep going on that. But his annual goal of fixing Facebook, and this kind of that first point of that. So that's crazy. So keep going on that. I'm curious to hear what else he said.
Sure. So he goes on. We feel a responsibility to make sure our services aren't just fun to use, but also good for people's well-being. Again, the research shows that when people connect with people they care about, it can be good for our well-being. Passive, not so good. And so well-being keeps coming up and up it again. And so he says, I'm changing the goal. And the goal for their product teams is to focus on helping the users, us, find relevant content to help us have more meaningful social interactions. And they're starting that this year. The first changes you'll see in the newsfeed, where you can expect to see more from friends, families, and groups, and less from publishers and pages and businesses. And so here comes the bit for churches. So as we roll this out, you'll see less public things, and you'll be encouraged to get more meaningful interactions with people. There's a really good video that's linked in John Loomer's post on this, and it's about the social interaction piece and how the ranking system works and how they're going to start weighting things a little bit higher from friends. So possibly an earlier rank on a friend's post might have been like a 1.2. Now it's like a 2.2. So they're trying to give more weight in the algorithm to it. So, for example, there are many tight-knit communities around TV shows and sports teams, and we've seen people interact more around live videos than regular ones. So he just called out live video in his statement there. So I think that's important for us to key in on, is what he says, live video gets more interaction. That should be like a big blaring red light for us that says, okay, we got to figure out live video. He also admits that due to these changes, he sees people using Facebook less. So for us, that means we need to invest time in making the posts we do put out there more valuable, because one, they're not going to be seen as much, and two, if they're not driving any kind of interaction, we have a problem. They're just not going to be shown. They're not going to be helpful. So that's going to affect our strategy completely. So are there any thoughts or comments coming in that we want to stop on or focus in on? But that was kind of his statement, is we want to make sure Facebook time is well spent and good for our well-being. So.
Okay. Cool. And yeah, like you said, if there's comments, please go ahead and share them. And any questions, I mean, there's a lot that you took or shared there, and we'll unpack some of that. But yeah, please go ahead and comment below. I think if you could touch more on the church. So what are you seeing from churches right now, and how is that going to impact them, with their pages and such?
Sure. There are a lot of churches who are doing great things on social media. I also see a lot of churches who are using it as a distribution channel and not so much an engagement channel. They're using it as a way to say, hey, we've got the potluck coming up on Saturday. Hey, choir rehearsal got changed. And I think those kind of things that don't drive any kind of engagement, but are just kind of a blanket sort of post about what's going on, here's a fact, that kind of thing, those are gone. Those are not going to reach anybody. So we have to figure out a way to distribute that information in a different way. I'm going to go back to so this guy, Adam Mosseri, I don't know how to say his name. He's the VP at Facebook in charge of the Newsfeed, which is just a cool title. And so he says space in the newsfeed is limited. Pages are he says may see their reach, video watch time, and referral traffic decrease. So for us, links back to our website with not a lot of elements in the post content are going to go away. Those aren't going to make it to the newsfeed. Any kind of created videos are probably going to see less newsfeed organic reach than.
Seth, I think I'm losing you there. Hang on one second. Yeah, I lost your audio. Oh, you're getting a little choppy. So, all right, let's pause for a second. Try to regroup and see if we can get Seth back on the line. The audio dropped out completely there. That's the beauty of live video, is that everything's live. Technical challenges will cause us problems. So while Seth works on that, I want to talk a little bit about this shift for Facebook. It's a big change that has come out with this announcement, but from what I've seen and what those of us on the publishing side have been tracking for a while now, is the organic views that our pages receive has been very low for a long time. So, organic versus paid. Facebook ads is where they, the last few years, they've been having people really put their attention. That has, Facebook ads has been good, but the organic views, when you just post something on a page and expect people to see it, has had views in like the 10% of your audience. So, Seth, I think we may have you back. Are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I got you.
All right, good.
Sorry about that. What
Hey,
happened?
no problem. Hey,
No.
that's what goes on. So, tell me a little bit about this, and I was starting to talk about just, is this really a dramatic shift for Facebook, or if not, how has that fallen in line with their strategy recently?
Yeah, I think it is a dramatic shift for Facebook. I mean, kind of their reason they were making a lot of money and attracting more and more businesses to kind of take it on was that they were offering a kind of a free vehicle to reach people. And we shouldn't really be surprised. We've talked about this in the past that Facebook is moving towards a pay-to-play system. We saw that with almost every Facebook update. It seems like we get less and less organic reach. And so to see kind of a complete potential drop-off shouldn't surprise us. We've talked in the past, probably over the past 2 or 3 years, probably on the CTS blog even, that we need to be allocating budget money for social ads and expressly kind of Facebook ads, because the targeting is just there. And with organic reach dropping, it's just very hard to get our content in front of people for free. So hopefully people have started to kind of change their budgets around and realize that if they have an important message or an important event, that they can put some dollars behind it and get a tremendous impact for a little bit of money. I mean, one of the impacts of Facebook change actually will be in advertising. Some people are speculating that because of the dramatic drop off for reach of pages, we are going to see the cost of advertising go up, because there are going to be more people realizing that they need to pay to play, and that's going to take those positions and make them more valuable, more expensive. So I guess we just need to realize that advertising might go up a little bit on Facebook in terms of cost. So that affects us too. There are things we can take into consideration. One is moving people to other channels. I think it was Jill was her name. She shared a really important thing that churches can still think about. It's called See First. And with all the changes, it's kind of harkens back. We used to be able to see everything that people put on Facebook. There was a day and age where when somebody posted something, I would actually get to see it. And then Facebook tried to improve it, and it went away. But if you actually want to see content from a page, you can go onto their page and click, I think it's the follow button, and go down and say, I want to see this first. And so that's one way that churches can start to address the potential drop-off, is getting their members and anybody in the community that's interested to actually go and do that proactive step of saying, I want to see this first. And that will ensure that people can see content that you post to your page. So I think that's an important step. I think Jill shared a video on there called See First. I know Social Media Examiner also has kind of a default generic See First video. So if you Google Social Media Examiner See First video, it should be able to pop up, and you should be able to download and then post that to your page. But I think driving people to See First is going to be important. So I want to make an important point of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it's funny for me, it seems like it's kind of going back to several years ago where, you used to, like you said, you had to, like pages, you'd see everything, but now you have to go in and put See First. So they're shifting, and it's almost like a like on a page means nothing now. Is there any value in having followers or likes to your page if there's no See First? What do you think on that? I'm kind of throwing that out there.
I mean, again, we're all speculating here based on some loose things that they said in Facebook, but
No, just liking a page doesn't mean much anymore, other than you might, in a very rare opportunity, see something from that page. You will are kind of opening yourself up to getting advertising from that page.
Mm-hmm.
And but if something's really important to you, you need to go Mark C first. One of the things that I kind of learned in doing some of this research is that each person, I think, only gets 30 things that they can see first. And so that came from Michael Stelzner on the social media podcast, Social Media Examiner. So these are very important and rare positions that you're trying to get into in somebody's life. So I think church can be one of those for people. So I think we have a huge benefit as churches, as opposed to maybe a random business down the street, Joe's Crab Shack or something like that. What would, even though love Joe's Crab Shack. I think we have a huge opportunity because people care about our church.
Right.
I mean, if somebody is attending your church, they are more likely to see first on that than they are another business in your community, because they don't want to miss any announcements that you're making or any content that you're sharing. So I think churches are actually positioned a lot better than most other organizations that are out there. So I don't want us to be fearful or scared. I just want us to know that there are opportunities. One of the ways that a lot of people are encouraging businesses, organizations to move is to start groups. If you don't have groups already as part of your church communication strategy on Facebook, consider from your page building a group off that people can start going over there and start having those interactions. So you can be moving people over there, but also you need to change kind of the way that you're asking questions. I mean, it's really not like those quote graphics where you post a sermon quote on top of a picture. Those aren't going to do well in the Newsfeed algorithm moving forward. So whether it's on a page or whether it's on a group, you need to be thinking about, how am I going to build content that actually gets people talking, that actually gets people interested in stopping. So for me, I'm seeing a whole bunch of stuff from groups, and I think Facebook sees that groups are more valuable because there's a lot of meaningful interaction going on in those. So groups still carry a lot of weight, but it was said by that VP Adam Mosseri that whether it's groups or whether it's pages or whether it's personal profiles, content is going to be evaluated. The analysis is going to happen at the content level and not so much at whether you're a page group or a person. So they're really wanting to drive back to the original days of Facebook, it seems, where they would just ask you, like, what's up or what's going on. So you're going to start to see more from friends, and I think that's good. So there are some implications forward.
Sure. You talked quite a bit about types of posts that churches should avoid. Talk a little bit more about what they should share. Live video, for example. How would a church start to implement live video into their Facebook strategy?
Right. That's a great question. I think we've seen a lot of church. There's quite a few churches out there, even in our denomination, the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, and then Lutheran churches, and then beyond that, who are taking live video in several different ways. One might be that a pastor or somebody from the church will go on and start having a Ask the Pastor session. And so they'll just commit to saying, Wednesdays at 2 p.m., I am going to be here live for 30 minutes and ask me anything. Those are the kind of posts that are not scheduled out, are not kind of pre-made. They're those raw interactive experiences that people are more likely to respond on. You see some prayer live videos where a pastor will go on and they'll say, how can we pray for you today? And then they'll just have an open prayer. I've seen churches go live with a Bible study and kind of do like a 12-minute sort of Bible study and then take questions about what they're talking about. I don't think there's an end to the possibilities for live video, but it is something that we need to test out and try. It's something that we need to just be willing to be bad at when we first start, and it's something that we can improve upon. But they're really seeing that live video is driving engagement. So I think the priority is going to be huge on that.
And I can understand any kind of hesitation to start live video. It's we've had that here. It's what do we talk about, and things like this where Facebook makes a change is a great time to have that conversation. And things happen in the church all the time that these don't have to be real in-depth and pre-planned, but authentic. And that's where video comes in, is that it's truly authentic. You can't hide from the camera. So,
Right.
should churches be looking at moving to other social media platforms, shifting their strategy to other platforms, or is there still that place on Facebook for them?
Um, that's a good question. I think there is a place. There has to be a place for Facebook in your strategy, because that's where people are. Until everyone completely drops off, 1 billion, whatever it is, people drop off Facebook and move somewhere else, your people are there. But it does change how we use Facebook. A lot of our kind of easy throwaway posts that we've been doing, I'm going to make this sermon graphic. I'm going to talk about what's coming up, at our Lenten supper, that kind of thing. I think those are dead, according to this new approach. But I think there's a place for live video. I think there's a place for question posts. I think there's a place for groups. I think there's also Facebook ads really are important, and that's got to be a part of your strategy moving forward if you're going to use Facebook and try to meet some of your objectives as an organization. So Facebook ads, now's the time to kind of have a crash course, get the credit card connected, and start testing things out, maybe on an upcoming event, or boost a video post or something like that. But get comfortable with it. Because people are there, I don't think we can just drop away from it. Now, there is kind of a movement that is important for us to see, and it's going to it's going to take even more learning than Facebook ads, and that is Messenger bot. And some people, have you written about this on the CTS blog? I think there's been some.
We've touched on it briefly. It's not an area that we've really gone deep in yet.
Yeah. So I foresee CTS blog tackling Messenger bots in the future. For me, I've subscribed to a few. Let's see, Jay Baer's Convince and Convert has a Messenger bot. David Crowder has a Messenger bot. It's kind of subscribing to their content in a way that just says, yes, no, I want to see more. And then they have the opportunity then to reach out to me at any time they want through Messenger, which is a completely different platform from regular Facebook Newsfeed. So Messenger bots and building up your Messenger audience, it might be an important step that your church should consider, because it is another avenue, kind of similar to texting, that is going to be advantageous, because people, whenever I get a text, I see it for sure. So my open rate on text is 100%. My open rate on Messenger is probably 98%. And that's only because I don't always see everything, because Facebook says that you don't know this person. But everything that comes through a Messenger bot that I've subscribed to I definitely see. And I think that's going to be an area for us to explore, is moving people from Facebook to Messenger, even though they're the same Facebook. They're different platforms.
And it really goes to what they're saying. Messenger bot is strictly interaction. There is no posts and likes. It's really right. That communication back and forth. So we've got a couple questions. This one applies more to Messenger bots, and it's probably more than we can handle right now. But how do you set that up? Jill's asking, and I'm not sure where to start from a church perspective. I think. What are your thoughts on that before I share any of mine?
So there's third-party services that you can go through. So you're gonna have to kind of Google. I don't have a recommended one, but there are third-party services that you can go through. If you have a WordPress site, you can install a Messenger icon or you can install the Messenger onto your website, so that when somebody goes to your homepage, they'll have a little Messenger icon pop up where they can interact with you there. So there are ways to do it through the Facebook development platform, but then there are also third-party ones out there as well. Some seem simpler than others, but yeah, like you said, it's not something I can dive into right now.
Well, I think even just getting comfortable with the platform, just like live video, just testing it out and starting is going to be the first way. If you've never opened up Messenger or installed it on your phone, just being comfortable with the interface and then start getting into the bot side of things. So we had another question about events. I know many churches will set up events from their page. How do you see this change impacting events and their effectiveness?
Honestly, I think those will be very meaningful interactions in Facebook's new algorithm. If you're saying I am interested or I am going to an event, Facebook's gonna, again, speculating, Facebook's going to see that as this is important to this person. So posts within events might come up a little bit higher in the priority because you've already kind of subscribed to that event through your RSVP. So I think events could be just as important. I think we're seeing a lot, at least currently, when one of your friends says, I'm interested in an event, just the fact that they've done that, it pops up into your newsfeed, and then you become aware of an event that your friend is going to. So I think events are still going up. So I wouldn't go away from events. I don't know if you want to put an event page out there for every church service you have, but I think special events, maybe your Easter service is coming up, I think those are critical to still have, because there's the personal profile opting in through the RSVP that makes those interactions meaningful. So I don't ditch events yet. I think they still have a place.
Well, I think, like you said, they also lead to more engagement because it is this shared interest, and it's going to lead to a real life interaction, which is what it seems like Facebook is talking about. That those, it's not meant to be the destination, but to supplement those real life interactions. So we've got just a few minutes left. If you've got any more questions to our audience today, please go ahead and submit them. But my last question for you today, Seth, is how do you stay up to date on this? And how do you personally, or what would you recommend to our audience on staying up to date with changes like this?
Well, I think in some of our interactions, Peter, you've talked about the fact that Concordia Technology Solutions blog is going to be tackling a lot of these topics head on and really going after some writers that are going to be able to really address this on the blog. So I think subscribing to your platform is going to be helpful. Some other resources out there are, let's see, Social Media Examiner always tackles kind of the latest and greatest things that are going on for social media marketing. So definitely check out Social Media Examiner. Let's see, Church Communications is a group that's run by Katie Allred and Daryl, starts with a G, I think his last name. And they've got a great podcast on these topics where they tackle those. It's just a matter of kind of subscribing to those communication avenues that really focus on churches too. So we're going to be talking about it in Lutheran Communicators on Facebook. But yeah, it's a lot of reading. And I think Social Media Examiner, if you can only read one, is probably one of the best ones you can start with. And then also keep tabs on what Facebook puts out through their newsroom, because it's always new, it's always fresh, and so it's helpful to kind of start wrapping your head around the changes that are coming. But then, I think those are a good place to start at least.
Well, yeah, and especially if you're following Facebook, you have to do some interpretation, and that's what's great about watching these others who are regularly following it. They're helping you interpret it. It kind of reminds me of Google and SEO. Google is never prescriptive. They're descriptive of the changes they make, more or less. Sometimes they don't even share it. You just have to follow it. But it's never this nice laid out recipe of here's what you need to do. It's, well, you might see this on that. So it's good to follow along. Yeah. Well, I think that's all for our questions today, Seth. I really appreciate you being on here today and discussing with us. Sure. I'm sure we'll be talking again in the future about any other changes that are coming. Good.
Sure. And I guess if I could leave people with a final kind of recommendation, if that's all right, Peter.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd say build up what you would call your street team. And so that can be seen in a few different ways, but it would be actual people. So for me, I work at the Michigan district here. When we have an event, like even today, this morning, I said, we got this important event coming up. Will you go on and at least, if you're going, mark that you're going. If you're not going, mark that you're interested. And for us, that's free advertising because it pops up into their news feeds and their friends' news feeds about what the events are going on. But then also when you have a blog post or a video go up, it's going to be really important that individuals on their personal profiles are sharing your content, and not so much that your page is officially sharing the thing. So I think social media really has to be all hands on deck. Maybe you need to start integrating like a weekly email internally that says these are our 2 or 3 important posts that are going to go out this week. I'll send an email when the post goes live. We need you to share that. We need you to share. So social media can't be relegated to one person. And so everybody's got to be on board. And I think kind of the impact of that, I think you'll still have reach, but we're just going to have to measure it differently because it won't be directly through the page. So really, street team, whatever you want to call it, work on getting everybody on board internally.
Well, I think what's key is what you said there: 2 to 3 posts. Keep it fewer posts, but more meaningful posts. It's not as much about the constant constant posting as the valuable interaction. Sure. So that's great. Well, thank you again, Seth, for being here. Thank you to everybody for tuning in today. And we'll be back soon with more valuable content for you on how to use social media for your church. Thank you again. Have a great day.
All right. Thanks, Peter.